What happens when a man is so proud that he would rather go to prison than listen to his wife's advice? Once upon a time, in the beautiful city of Asaba, Delta State, there lived a man called Adebayo. Everyone called him Bayo. He was a successful businessman who sold building materials, cement, iron rods, ties, and everything builders needed. His shop was big, his bank account was fat, and his ego was bigger than the Third Mainland Bridge. Bayo was the kind of man who believed he knew everything about everything. If you told him the sun rises from the east, he would argue with you for 2 hours just to prove he was right even when he was wrong. His mouth was sharper than a cutlass, and his pride was taller than Zuma Rock. But most annoying thing about Bayo was how he treated his wife's opinions. His wife, Fumi for short, was a brilliant woman. She was an accountant who worked in a big oil company, and her brain was as sharp as a new needle. This woman could look at numbers and see trouble coming from 10 miles away. She could smell a scam faster than a rat could smell cheese. But did her husband ever listen to her? Never. What does a woman know about business? Bayo would say, waving his hand like he was chasing away a fly. Your job is to cook food, warm my bed, and take care of the children. Leave business matters to men who understand it. Fumi would just shake her head. She had been married to this stubborn goat for 12 years and she had learned that arguing with him was like trying to sweep water with a broom. Completely useless. They had 3 children together, 2 boys and a girl. The children loved their mother because she was kind and patient, but they feared their father because he shouted at everyone like a military officer. Now let me tell you some stories about Bayo's stubbornness so that you can understand the kind of man we are dealing with. 3 years ago, Fumi noticed that their family car was making a strange noise. The engine sound was like an old man coughing with tuberculosis. Bayo, my husband, Fumi said one morning, this car is making strange noise. We should take it to the mechanic before it breaks down completely. Bayo looked at her like she had just spoken Chinese. Mechanic? For what? This car is completely fine. You women, you people just like to waste money. I've been driving this car for 20 years. You think I don't know when the car has problem? But the noise, what noise? There's no noise. Your ears are just too sensitive. 1 week later, Bayo was driving to an important meeting when, bam, the engine exploded like a bomb. Smoke started pouring out from the bonnet like a scene from a Nollywood movie. The car stopped right in the middle of the road during rush hour traffic. Other drivers were honking like mad people. Come on for road, Joe! Ole! Thief of time! Bayo had to abandon the car and take a keke napep to his meeting, sweating like a Christmas goat. The repair cost him 400,000 naira, money that could have been saved if he had just listened to his wife and spent 50,000 naira on simple servicing. Did he apologize to Fumi? Of course not. Instead, he blamed the mechanic who sold him the car 5 years ago. 2 years ago, Bayo wanted to open a shop, a second shop in Warri. Fumi, who was good with numbers, sat down and calculated everything. She checked the profits, the expenses, the location, the competition. She checked everything. My husband, she said gently, showing him her calculations on paper. This expansion is not a good idea now. We don't have enough capital. If you open this shop now, we'll be struggling. Wait for 1 more year, save more money, then expand properly. Bayo's face turned red like pepper. What do you know? You're just an accountant pushing papers in an office. I'm the real businessman in the real world. I know what I'm doing. But the numbers show. Forget your numbers. Numbers are paper. They are just on paper. They are different from real life business. I am opening that shop whether you like it or not. He opened the shop, and within 6 months, the shop was bleeding money like a wounded animal. The location was wrong, the competition was too much, and he didn't have enough capital to stock it properly. He had to close down and lost over 2 million naira. Did he admit that his wife was right? No. He blamed economic recession and bad government policies. A year ago, Bayo's friend told him about an investment opportunity. Pay 500,000 naira and in 3 months you get 1,500,000 naira. Fumi immediately knew it was a scam. Bayo, this is 419. Nobody can triple your money in 3 months legally. This is a pyramid scheme. Please don't do it. You are just jealous that I'm about to make big money. You want me to remain poor. My friend has already collected his returns. This is real, Bayo shouted. He invested the money. 3 months later, the company disappeared like smoke. The office was empty. The phone numbers were not going through. His money was gone like a fart in the wind. Fumi just looked at him and said nothing. What was there to say? That man's head was harder than concrete. Now, after all these incidents, you would think Bayo would have learned his lessons, right? Wrong. The man's stubbornness was like a disease that had no cure. And that's how we reached the big wahala that would land him in prison. It started on a bright Monday morning. Bayo was at his shop when a man walked in. The man was dressed in an expensive suit that looked like it cost more than a cow. His shoes were shining like mirror. His wristwatch was gleaming like gold. He had the kind of smile that could sell sand to a desert dweller. Good morning. Are you Chief Adeboyo? The man asked. His voice was smooth like butter. Yes, that is me. How can I help you? My name is Alhaji Musa Abdullahi Ibrahim. The man said, shaking Bayo's hand with both hands like they were old friends. I'm a businessman from Abuja. I've heard great things about you. People say you are the king of building materials in Asaba. Bayo's chest swelled up like balloon. He loved praises more than he loved money. After all, he was a Yoruba man. Well, I wouldn't say king, but yes, I'm quite successful. Well, that is why I'm here, Alhaji Musa said, sitting down without being invited. I have a business proposal that will make both of us very rich. Bayo's ears stood up like a rabbit hearing food. I'm listening. You see, I have connections with the government. Big connections. I can get us a contract to supply building materials for a massive government project. They are building 50 houses for civil servants in Abuja. The contract is worth 20 million naira. Bayo's eyes were wide like saucers at the mention of 20 million naira. Yes, but here's the thing. To secure the contract, we need to show financial capacity. The government wants to see that we are serious, so we need to deposit 5 million naira into an account as proof of funds. Once the contract is awarded, we'll get our money back plus the profit from the contract. We'll make at least 10 million naira profit. 5 million for me, 5 million for you. It sounded too good to be true. And as our people say, when something sounds too good to be true, it is. But Bayo was blinded by greed like a moth flying into a flame. 5 million is a lot of money, Bayo said carefully. Let me think about it. Of course. But don't think too long, oh. I have other partners who are interested, and this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. That evening, Bayo went home excited like a child who just got a new toy. He told Fumi everything. Fumi listened carefully, her face becoming more and more serious. When he finished talking, she said quietly, "My husband, this is a scam." What? Bayo shouted so loud that the neighbors probably heard. Scam? How is it a scam? Everything about it is wrong, Fumi said, trying to stay calm. First, real government contracts don't work like this. You don't pay money to get a contract. The government pays you. Second, this man just walked into your shop randomly. How convenient. Third, 5 million naira deposit. That's exactly what fraudsters do. You are just jealous, this woman. Every time I want to make progress, you try to pull me down. Is it because you are earning salary that you want me to remain at your level? Bayo, I'm trying to protect you. Protect me from what? From success? From prosperity? You want me to remain a small shop owner forever, while your mates' husbands are doing big contracts? Bayo, this is not about competition. This deal is fake. I can smell it from here. Please, don't put this family into financial jeopardy. But Bayo had already made up his mind. I'm doing this business, and if you try to stop me, you will see the other side of me. Fumi was tired. She had warned him. What else could she do? She went to bed that night with a heavy heart, knowing that disaster was coming like a truck without brakes. The next day, Bayo went to the bank and withdrew 5 million naira. 5 million naira. Money they had been saving for years. Money for their children's education. Money for emergencies. He packaged it in a Ghana must go bag and called Alhaji Musa. They met in a hotel in GRA Asaba. Alhaji Musa came with another man he introduced as the government official in charge of the project. The second man was wearing abada and speaking big English that made no sense. Chief Bayo, the fake official boomed. Alhaji Musa has told me about you. You are a man of vision, a man of means. This partnership will be mutually beneficial for all stakeholders involved in this collaborative venture. Bayo didn't even understand half of what the man said, but he nodded like he did. So, Chief, do you have the deposits? Alhaji Musa asked, his eyes shining with greed like a cat seeing fish. Yes, it is here. Bayo lifted the bag onto the table. Alhaji Musa opened it and his smile grew wider than the River Niger. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. Chief, by next week the contract will be awarded and we'll be counting money like Central Bank. They made Bayo sign some documents he didn't even read properly. They gave him a photocopied contract letter that looked like it was printed from a cyber cafe. They shook hands, took pictures together and promised to call him in 2 days. Bayo went home feeling like a king. You see, he told Fumi, next month we'll be millionaires, then you will know that I know what I'm doing. Fumi just looked at him with pity in her eyes. I hope you are right, she said quietly, but in her heart, she already knew the truth. 2 days passed, no call. 4 days passed, no call. A week passed. Bayo started calling Alhaji Musa's number. The number you are calling is not available. Please try again later. He called the government official. It was the same message. Bayo's stomach started turning like a washing machine. He went to the hotel where they met. The receptionist told him, we don't know any Alhaji Musa. Many people use our hotels for meeting. We can't track anyone. He went to the address on the fake contract letter. It was an abandoned building with goats living inside. That was when reality hit Bayo like a thunderbolt from an angry god. He had been scammed. 5 million naira gone, vanished like a magician's trick, disappeared like his common sense. Bayo sat in his car and cried like a baby. A big grown man crying tears that could fill a bucket. All of his wife's warning were playing in his head like a broken record. This is a scam. You don't pay money to get contracts. This is fake. But his pride wouldn't let him go home and admit to Fumi that she was right. Instead, he did something extremely stupid that would change his life forever. He decided to replace the 5 million naira by borrowing from his customers' deposits. You see, in Bayo's business, customers would pay deposits for goods they wanted to order. He would keep the money in his business accounts and use it to buy the goods. But now, desperate and foolish, he started using customers' deposit money for personal expenses, hoping to replace it later. One customer, Chief Mrs. Adesuwa Badmus, had paid him 2 million naira deposit for iron rods she wanted to use for her bleeding project. Bayo used the money to pay his children's school fees and house bills, thinking, I'll replace it next month when I get more sales. But the next month came and he couldn't replace it. More customers paid deposits and he used that money too, playing the dangerous game of musical chairs with people's money. 3 months later, Chief Adesawa called him. Bayo, where are my iron rods? I paid you 2 million naira 2 months ago. Madam, I'm sourcing the best quality for you. Just give me small time. Small time? It's been 3 months, Oga. I have laborers waiting. I want my goods now or you return my money. Madam, calm down. Let me check my records and call you back. But Bayo didn't have her money and he didn't have her goods either. He was stuck like a goat in a fence. Chief Mrs. Adesuwa was not the type of woman to play with. She was a retired army officer who could command fear with just her voice. She went to Bayo's shop the next day with her lawyer. Adebayo, she thundered, her voice making the whole shop shake. Where is my money? Where are my goods? Madam, I'm working on it. Working on what? I've been patient for 3 months. I've been calling you. You have been dodging. What kind of business are you running? Other customers in the shop started paying attention. Some of them have also been waiting for their goods. Excuse me, one man said. I myself paid deposit 2 months ago and I'm also waiting. Me too. He collected 1 million naira for ties, but till now, nothing. The bar's bowl started getting hot like boiling oil. More and more customers started complaining. Bayo's shop became like a war zone. You are a thief, 419 man, scammer. We will deal with you today. We will deal with you today. Chief Mrs. Adesuwa pulled out her phone. I'm calling the police right now. You either produce my goods or my money, or you are going to prison today. Madam, please, calm down. Give me to next week. I swear I will. Next week, my foot. Hello, police. Within 30 minutes, the police arrived at the shop. They arrested Bayo right there in front of everyone. They handcuffed him like a common criminal. His neighbors came out to watch. People were taking videos with their phone. "This is what happens to thieves," someone shouted. "Big man outside, thief inside," another person mocked. The disgrace was hotter than 1,000 suns. They dragged Bayo to the police station and threw him into the cell that smelled like a public toilet that hasn't been cleaned in 10 years. The cell was crowded with armed robbers, pickpockets and all sorts of criminals. Bayo, in his designer shirt and expensive shoes, sat on the dirty floor and finally realized the extent of his stupidity. The police called Fumi. "Madam, your husband has been arrested for fraud and obtaining money under false pretense." When Fumi heard the news, she didn't scream, she didn't cry. She just sighed deeply like someone who had been expecting the bad news. She took her bag, told the house girl to watch the children and went to the police station. When she saw her husband in the cell, looking like a rat caught in a trap, their eyes met. Bayo's face was full of shame. Fumi's face was calm, but her eyes said everything. "I warned you, I told you, but you wouldn't listen."
"Fumi,"
Bayo's voice was shaking.
"I'm sorry. I was scammed. I used the customer's money too. I thought I could replace it."
"How much do you owe?" Fumi asked, her voice cold like ice.
7 million naira in total.
Fumi closed her eyes. 7 million naira. Their entire life savings was about 3 million. Where would they find the remaining 4 million? The police inspector came to Fumi and told him, "Madam, your husband is in big trouble. The complainants are ready to press full charges. He could go to prison for up to 7 years. 7 years? Even Fumi's calmness broke for a moment. Yes, unless he can pay back all the money and the victims agree to withdraw the case. That night, Fumi did something that showed she was a better person than her husband deserved. Despite everything, despite his stubbornness, his refusal to listen, his insults and his pride, she decided to help him. She sold her own car, the car she had been using for 10 years, her precious car. She sold her jewelry, the gold her parents gave her during their wedding. She borrowed money from her siblings and begged her boss for a loan. She went to the bank and took a loan against her salary. It took her 3 weeks, but she gathered 7 million naira. All the customers were called to the police station. Fumi paid each one their money, begging them with tears in her eyes to forgive her foolish husband and drop the charges. Chief Mrs. Adesua looked at her with pity. "You are a good woman, too good for this useless man. But because of your humility and sacrifice, I will drop my case." One by one, the other customers agreed. They collected their money and signed statements withdrawing their complaints. Bayo was released from prison after 21 days. 21 days of eating watery garri and sleeping with criminals. 21 days of using a toilet without a door. 21 days of shame and regret. When he came out, he looked like a different person. His proud chest was now bowed like a bent nail. His loud voice was now quiet like a mouse. His know-it-all attitude had been beaten out of him by reality. Fumi was waiting outside the police station in a taxi. She had sold her car. Bayo entered the taxi and couldn't even look at her face. They drove in silence for a long time. Then Bayo finally spoke. His voice cracked like a broken pot. "You told me it was a scam. You warned me. But I didn't listen. I called you jealous. I said you wanted to pull me down. But you saved me. You sold everything to save me. Why?" Fumi was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "Because I'm your wife. Because our children need their father. Because even though you are stubborn and proud like a peacock, you're still my husband." But Bayo, she turned to look at him now, her eyes serious like a teacher addressing a stubborn student. "This is the last time. The very last time. If you ever refuse to listen to my advice again, if you ever call me jealous again or ever dismiss my intelligence again, I will pack up my things and leave, and you can manage your stubbornness alone with the consequences that comes with it." Bayo nodded, tears running down his face like river.
"I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'll listen. I promise I'll change.
And surprisingly, he actually changed. The news of Bayo's arrest spread around Asaba like wildfire. His business suffered terribly. Many customers no longer trusted him. He had to close his big shop and start a small one. They had to move from their big house to a smaller one to save money and pay off the loans Fumi collected. Life became hard, very hard. They went from living comfortably to struggling to make ends meet. But through it all, Bayo's pride was finally broken. He started listening to Fumi. When she gave advice on business decisions, he listened. When she warned him about people, he listened. When she suggested solutions to things, he actually implemented them. Slowly, like a plant growing from a tiny seed, their lives began to improve again. Fumi's wisdom and Bayo's hard work combined together properly this time. Within 2 years, they paid up all their debts. Within 3 years, they opened a new shop. And in 5 years' time, they were back on their feet. Not as rich as before, but stable and peaceful. And Bayo never forgot the 21 days he spent in that stinking prison cell. Every time his pride tried to rise up, he would remember the shame, the humiliation and disgrace, and he would humble himself. As for Alhaji Musa and his partner in crime, they were arrested 2 years later in Lagos while trying to scam another person. They are now in Kirikiri prison, probably sharing a cell with rats and regrets. The moral lesson of this story reminds us that pride goes before a fall. Stubbornness brings total destruction. When you marry a wise person, listen to them. Your wife is not your enemy. If she's warning you about something, it's because she loves you and wants to protect you, not because she's jealous or trying to pull you down. A wise person learns from their mistakes. A fool repeats them. But the most foolish one is the one who refuses to listen to good advice even when it is free. Men, your wives are not just cooks and cleaners. Many of them are intelligent, educated, and can see things that you cannot see. Stop allowing your pride to make you deaf to wisdom. And remember, when you are scammed, when you are in trouble, when you are in prison, it is the same wife you insulted and dismissed that will be the one to help you. You better treat her with respect today before life teaches you that lesson in a hard way. As our elders say, a stubborn fly follows the corpse into the grave. So don't be a stubborn fly.